The commentators always sell it the same. They say there's no escape. It's hell in a cell. What is it like to create your own cell? To be trapped inside that? That's what we're going to discuss today. Stay with me.
1, 2, my God, it's the Kickout Show!
Hello and welcome to WWA Wrestling with Adversity, and today we're talking about what it's like to be alone, to be isolated, to be trapped, and to build a big hell inside a cell around you so you feel you can't get out and nobody can get in. It's usually built to stop a chair from being slid in, for a faction to stop coming in and interfering in the match, just like a cage match. But inside, it's hell. It's chains. Yes, you're isolated. Yes, you think you're safe inside there because all the people outside can't get in, but really, you're trapped. It's brutal. It's contained. It's a closed loop. And if you're inside it, you know the outside world kind of ceases to exist. So I want to talk to you today because I believe a lot of you are living with your life inside that cage, inside that hell in a cell. You aren't there because a promoter booked you that way, but you aren't there because you're being punished either. You're lonely, you are isolated, and you feel cut off from the rest of the world because you built the cage yourself. You lowered the mesh, you locked the door, and you threw away the key. That does not mean it's your fault. You were tired. You were betrayed. Tired of getting hurt. So you built a wall to keep the pain out. And it worked. You are safe. But you're suffocating. You're trapped in there. What does that look like on a Tuesday night? It looks like you ignoring the phone. I used to do this. Never had a ringtone. Didn't want to look at my phone. You don't have the energy to talk. You get anxiety just at the thought of the phone ringing. It looks like you're saying I'm fine when your partner asks what's wrong, even though your chest feels like it's going to explode. It looks like scrolling through Instagram for hours on end, or watching other people live while you sit in the dark feeling jealous. And you can't even explain it. Just letting life slip by almost feels safer than engaging and actually doing something about it. So our world gets smaller and smaller the more we push people away. And anxiety plays a huge part in that. It tells you little stories and lies about how things are going to happen, how things are going to work out, how you won't be able to cope, how you won't be able to handle it. We talk a lot about loneliness in men especially, and we talk about the male loneliness epidemic. I'm sure you've heard of it. And usually we frame it as like nobody cares about men, or like we are abandoned. And there is truth to that, but there is a deeper, harder truth that we need to wrestle with today. And sometimes you aren't lonely because people left you. You're lonely because you won't let anybody in. Yes, we do try to handle things on ourselves because we were parentified or we were left alone to do things on our own. We can't trust other people to do it properly. And we think we have to carry that on our own. But many times that pushing away is what keeps people from coming into our lives, from coming into our world, being able to share. I know for me, a lot of times I don't want to share with people because I just think, well, you can't do anything for me. You can't fix this for me. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of me saying, you can't help, and then nobody helping. And then I wonder why I'm alone. I wonder why I've got no friends. I wonder why my partner doesn't bother asking anymore. Because I've told them not to. I've pushed everybody away. But that's a trauma response. That's not my fault. It's my responsibility to do something about it, but it isn't my fault. It's something that happened to me that said I have to rely on me only. And then this cycle repeats. And then that becomes stored in the mind then. And that becomes your view of the world now. And every time somebody gets close, every time you see an opportunity to do it differently, it pulls you back. It says, remember what happened last time. So this is fear-based isolation. Somewhere in your past, you took a bad bump. Maybe it was a parent who wasn't there all the time. Or they loved you, but at the same time, you were scared of them. Maybe it was an ex-partner who humiliated you, or a friend who stabbed you in the back, and you learnt that lesson well. You learnt it the hard way. That vulnerability equals pain. So you start protecting yourself like it's an old injury. You start to work differently. You stop trusting, and you develop like a gimmick and a character. Maybe you become the funny person, the person who makes jokes, and nobody sees that sadness or that need for help because you don't let them. You don't want them to. Maybe you became stoic, the quiet, silent hero, but really inside it's all crumbling apart. And if somebody would just reach out and help you, but at the same time you're making sure that they don't. The ways that we think is like, I don't need help, but I really want help. People just disappoint me anyway. What's the point? It's safer to be alone anyway. And now you might be 25, 30, 35, 40, and it's never really changing. You've got a house, maybe, you've got a job, all the subscription services, you've got all the gadgets, you've got your laptop, all that kind of stuff, but yet you still feel alone. Why is that? Why won't ChatGPT help me? Why won't the TV help me? Why won't social media help me? Because we need people. We're supposed to be in groups. We're supposed to be in tribes. We're supposed to be linked to each other. Yeah? We're not meant to be doing it on our own. Nobody can love you if you don't let them. Nobody's going to come and knock the door and check on you and see if you're okay and see what you need. We have to communicate. We have to let people know that, you know what, I don't feel great. Do you know what? I need help with this. And sometimes we think that we're going to put too much weight on somebody and they're going to crumble. Oh, I don't want to put that on you. I don't want to put that pain on you. I don't want to put that weight on you, on your shoulders. So I'll carry it all until you crumble yourself. Then what? Then you've got anxiety. Then you can't get out of bed. Then you're depressed. And unfortunately, all too often, this leads down the road of suicide. Because people aren't reaching out, because they're not asking for help, because they're not talking. So it's like you're looking through the mesh at the rest of the world, wondering why you feel so cold and alone. And it's because you blocked it all out to stay safe. But that safeness, it's not really keeping you safe. Anxiety and all these walls you put up, they're there to keep you safe but not happy. They're there to keep out danger, but it keeps you sad. It keeps you lost. And it's not until you step out of that you realise that it's not as dangerous as what you thought. So back when I was drinking cans, drinking 18, 20 cans a night, that was the lock on the door. Alcohol is the ultimate isolator. It convinces you that you are your own best company, that sitting on your own is safer than going out. Nobody's coming out anymore anyway. I'm in my 30s, I'm in my 40s. Nobody wants to go out anymore. No one wants to go to nightclubs anymore. So it's just me, but I can't turn off this feeling. So I need to drink it away. But even after I got sober, even more so, that cage was still there, and it was made now of anxiety. And I was terrified that if I let people see the real me, the real Danny, the one with the panic, the one with the shame, the one that couldn't hold himself up inside, that people would abandon me again. Just like I felt like I'd been abandoned by my mum when she got mentally ill and sectioned. So I kept that cage up, and I performed, and I worked the crowd, and I went about doing all the normal things that people normally do from day to day. I raised my son, I took him to school, I had a relationship with my partner, I cleaned the house and all that stuff. But really, that was just so that people wouldn't bother me. Because if I didn't do those things, people might check on me, and then they might ask me what's up. And I didn't want them to do that. I just wanted to be alone. But I didn't at the same time. I wanted somebody to read my mind. I wanted somebody to reach into my soul and say, hey, I see you. I see that you're struggling, and I'm here for you. Not here to solve it, but I'm here for you. So I kept that cage up, and it wasn't long before my world came crumbling down then. Connection requires risk. In wrestling, if you want to have a great match, you have to trust your opponent with your body. You have to trust them to catch you. You have to trust them not to break your neck. You have to trust them that they've put in the time, they've put in the hours, and they're going to look after you in that moment. And if you refuse to trust them, you can't have a match. You'll just be rolling around on the floor by yourself. That's what your life is like right now. You're refusing to tag anybody in, and you're terrified that they'll drop you. So you carry the weight all on your own. You carry the financial stress alone. You carry the intrusive thoughts alone, the fear, the worry, the fret, the rumination. And your brain tells you that this is strength, or look at me, I'm an army of one, I'm a beast. All this faux bullshit you see online about lone wolf or doing it alone and grind culture and all this kind of stuff. Yet mental health is on the rise. Why? You're not a beast, you're a human being. Yeah? You're exhausted, you're burning out, because humans were not designed to wrestle in a fucking handicap match against life every single day. We're not designed for it, we're not meant to do it. And if you're doing it, you're probably seeing it's not working out that well. So that cage, that hell in a cell, that wall that you've put up is not protecting you anymore. The threat is gone. What's left now is your fear of threat. The only thing the cage is doing now is keeping you small. So how do we get out of this cage? How do we get out of this hell inside this cell? If you've ever watched a cage match, you know that they climb out or they kick the door open, and both of them require effort, but both of them seem really scary when you're inside it. You can't just wish it away, you have to climb. So here is your kick out plan for this week. Stop calling it independence and call it what it is. Fear. It's okay to feel fear. If you admit that to yourself, if you admit that you're hiding because you don't want to get hurt, that's the first hurdle. Trust me, I had to do that myself. It's a defense mechanism, and you can admit that. You watch it then lose its power. I'm scared. I'm afraid. I have fear. That is okay. We can't spend our lives being in fear or in fear of emotions, because that's just a perpetuating loop. So let's call it out. Let's point at it. Oh, right, I see there. I'm feeling the fear of feeling fear. That's how it keeps its power, by keeping you on your own, by keeping you in your head. So you can open the door just an inch. I'm not asking you to tear down the whole wall today. I'm not asking you to tell your deepest trauma to any old stranger at a bus stop or anything. I'm asking you to send one text. Text a friend that you haven't spoken to. Text a family member. And just say, do you know what? I've been struggling a bit lately. I just wanted to say hi. It doesn't have to be a trauma dump. It doesn't have to be sitting listening to me while I tell you every inside and out. It's just human connection. That's what we're missing. That's what unlocks the door. Human connection. And you'll notice as that conversation goes on that their life is up and down. That's quite normal. And you'll gain strength from that. And then you'll be able to help them too with your presence, with your support. Maybe not today, maybe not in a week or a month, but you will get that strength. You will find that come. When you open up, there's a chance you will get hurt. And there's a chance they won't reply, and there's a chance it will be awkward. Do it anyway. That's the risk. Take that little risk. You have to be willing to take the bump to get the payoff. You have to be willing to be rejected to be connected. Let me say that again, because that's really good. You have to be willing to be rejected to be connected. Because the alternative is staying in that steel cage or that hell in a cell until you die, and then it's all over, and then you'll lie in your bed and think, wow, if only I'd have just done this, if only I'd have done that. That's not a life, that's a sentence. Okay? So I just want you to leave you with this. The bell has not rung yet. You haven't lost. You've just been playing in defense for too long. You've been playing it small because of fear and trauma. But we're going to stop that. We're going to move forward. Small steps. So it's time to climb that mesh. It's time to realize that the world on the outside can be scary, yeah. But it's also where the life is. It's where the love is. It's where the comeback happens. Don't let your fear of a bad bump keep you from the main event of your life. And remember, it's not about hitting the mat. It's all about the kick out. Thank you for joining me today. See you next week.